signs that you are the strong friends. And it's going to be about how to break the cycle. Okay. Um, so I'm talking about this topic because I'm very dedicated to. So what I currently do is I'm dedicated to helping women focus on women empowerment, self growth, and helping women to reconnect with themselves. And so I'm very dear to this topic because I've realized that if as a woman, you so if as a woman you don't know or are not aware that you're the strong friend, right? You're that friend, the go-to friend that everyone goes to. Okay, it could affect every area of your life. There's no boundaries. It would affect you in your business. It's going to affect you like career wise. It's going to affect you when it comes to family. It's going to affect you in every area, and before you know it, because if you're not aware of those boundaries, is you're gonna end up always doing what other people tell you. You're gonna end up in a place where every decision you make is gonna be shifted based on what other people tell you that or think that you should do because you never started off with any boundaries. Hey everyone, welcome. Let me know where you're from if you're watching. But yes, so I'm going to start off get into the first point is the first step is how you know it's you. Like, how do you know that you are the strong friend? Because if you're not aware, then there's nothing to fix if you don't know, right? And so, okay, so the first point within that was, so everyone vents to you. So at first, you may be that for go-to person where people call you, right? And then you feel like, oh, well, like I must be so special because everyone's calling me, everyone's contacting me, right? Like everyone is like, I'm the first person that someone thinks of and they're seeking my advice. And then obviously you're happy to give it, right? But I've quickly learned that there is there's a difference between needed and being valued. There's a big difference. Okay. And where am I going with this? Sorry. So yeah, so everyone vents you. So there's a big difference. So just because someone is contacting you doesn't mean that you need to give them that full space. Hey Fahad, you're funny. No one's there without me. Everyone's here. Trust me. We're doing this on YouTube and TikTok, so that's what's happening. Okay. So it's just important that you know you know exactly you're fully aware and that you are creating boundaries. So like I remember I used to be that person where like people would call me and what was happening is I was accepting anything. So when people would call me, I would be the person I would be the person that basically would be taking all the calls, basically taking everyone's like pretty much everyone's issues and then being the one to help them and then by the end of it you're like where is all my energy going, right? Thank you. I'm very aware, Ayush, that Jesus loves me. He loves you too. And then you're like and then before you know it you're like what just happened. And I quickly realized like you can't live your life like that. Like it's so important to protect your space, protect your energy, and not because someone wants to talk to you about their life means that you have to listen to people, right? When it comes to like it doesn't mean that you have to just listen to it. Like you have a choice to end that call. Like you don't have to continue that call or you don't have to continue that conversation if you are not comfortable, right, with that conversation. You feel like it's bothering your space. It's basically evading your space. And this is a lot of things I teach in my Build Where We Are, on the Build Where We Are clarity call, because I feel like a lot of times women have a lot of issues with boundaries in terms of protecting their space because we naturally want to help. We're nurturers. We want to help. we want to be that person where we're like, okay, I want to make sure that person's okay. But like it's not something that's not long term. The next thing is how you know it's you, if you're that strong friend, is you're always checking on everyone. So it's like people are always on your mind. Um, right? It's like people are always on your mind. You're the person that's always calling up everyone. You're thinking about them. Hey, how is it going? But the question for me to you would be like, when's the last time someone just checked on you? Right? Just think about it. Because sometimes you don't notice it. Like, I remember I used to get caught up because I would talk. I care about my friends. Like, I'm very loyal to my friends. And I remember that I would always talk to people and check up on them because I would think of them. But then like it was only until I took a step back and then one day I was like, wait, does that person actually call me? Like like if I stopped calling, would they call me? Basically, right? If I stopped, hey everyone. So basically if I stop calling, would they call you? That's like usually the true test of if they're really your friend. So we're talking about basically four signs you're the strong friend. Hey Elijah, hey FF Queen, and how to break the cycle. So that's what I'm going through. So right now I'm going through the point of you're always checking on everyone. If you're the person that's always checking on everyone, like, who is checking on you? And I had to come to that realization because sometimes you can be so focused on checking on everyone else to the point when you're like, wait, is this reciprocal? Like, sometimes you won't even notice it's not reciprocal because you get so enticed, right? You're checking on a person, you're having conversations, and the friendship feels like a like, the friendship feels like a friendship until you notice it, right? So, like, I guess, like, that's when, sorry, 1 second here. Um, And I feel like that's the point where you have to be aware of that. And that's something I teach, right? Is like teach a woman like my people is like it's important that things are reciprocal and then you're not always giving. Like you're not always giving and giving and not receiving anything. If that makes sense, right? The next one is guilty saying no. Like, do you feel guilt? Like, how do you know you're a strong friend? Do you feel guilt saying no, even though you know that you're like, I don't really, I'm not like, you don't really want to do it. Like, if a friend asks you to do a favor, like, how hard is it for you to say no? And do you just say no because you're like, well, like, I want to impress the person, like, I want to be there for the person. Oh, hey, Robbie. How are you? Yes, hey, I finally was able to catch one of your lives. I always have to watch them. Yeah, I'm so happy you caught it and you're watching them. I've been going live every day. So right now I'm just talking about four signs you're the strong friend and how to break the cycle. And so right now I'm just on the first point. So I'm just getting started. So it's how you know it's you that's you're the strong friend. So I was talking about basically you're guilty saying no. And I could relate to this because for me, like one of my hardest boundaries was setting the boundary around saying no when people ask me for a ride, especially when I knew like it was the opposite way or it was too far. And I remember I started to be aware of this because I was like, why am I getting so much anxiety around this? And I realized it was like, okay, because I don't like doing that. Like I don't like giving people rides. And so one time I had a friend do ask me, and we were going to the same place, so like we are going towards it. And what I decided to do, I was like, okay, like if you could come to this certain point, like I kind of started finding ways where I was like, okay, it's not only me just like running to the person, like driving to the person, it was like making them make some effort to get to me. And so it felt like a middle ground. And it did work, but here's the thing was when it was going back home, I found it was so hard to say, okay, like, how are you getting back home? And there was that automatic assumption. And that's when I realized I was like, okay, now I'm gonna have to start practicing. Like how I'm gonna say no, right? Like just because someone like a friend that may be dear to you asks you asks you, "Hey, like, can you give like something that they need you to do doesn't mean that you need to say yes." Right? You can say no, right? And if they have a problem, and then this is a lesson I learned, is that if that friend has a problem with you saying no, they're not a true friend, right? Yes, for Robbie, I always feel guilty saying no to my best friend, but these past few years, I've been feeling like I'm drifting away from her. We've been friends since I was 4 years old. LOL. I'm 32 now. A very long time. Um, but it's sometimes people I just meet, like where they just have these expectations. And then you have to start setting the expectation or changing them. In your case, Robbie, it's like you had to change them to get to that point. But I find like this is one of the hardest things, right? Is the saying no. And we should not be feeling guilty when you say no. Like it's a no is a no. And honestly, like I would tell you this, like sometimes like saying no can open doors for other things. And and just is just things that I've learned or from people I've worked with, right? Is it's so powerful to say no, especially if it doesn't align with your dreams, your ideas, like what you're doing, where you are in your life. No. The other one is like how you know it's you is people assume that you're okay as a strong friend, right? They assume that you're automatically okay, and so they don't ever bother asking you if you're okay, how you're doing. Oh, thanks, Abby. I appreciate it. But yeah, they assume that you're okay and they don't bother asking. They don't bother just being like, okay, like how is this person doing? And I feel like that's when you have to pay attention. Like be aware. Like sometimes you have to take those rose colored glasses off and say, is that friend checking on me? Like are they generally asking me, hey, how are you doing? Something as simple as that. Like sometimes we think like we have to like have this whole conversation, a whole paragraph ready to contact your friend, but that's not the case. Like, I remember I had a friend where it was so beautiful because I had just met her and we went to like dinner and all that stuff. And over time, she would just message me, hey, how are you? And I remember at first it was odd. And I was like, oh, you don't get that a lot. But then the more she did, I was like, I think that's such a great routine to get into. Right? It's such a great routine to get into. It's just asking people, how are you? Like if you have a friend that you've been leaning on where every time like they're always there for you, like I would even put in your phone or something like maybe put it in the chat to remind yourself, whatever. So you could type it and get it in here and like the next action you could take right now is be like, let me just ask that person how they're doing. Because there's some people that don't share. They don't share how they're doing. Like they won't share if they're going through something. So we're gonna go to the next point. So now where it comes from. And usually the first point I had here was you grew up protecting everyone. So you were the person that had to stay strong in situations. Maybe you were the eldest, maybe you were the eldest. And you had to learn like, okay, like how do I you had to basically you had to learn to protect a person, you had to learn to be that better like stronger person. You basically had to be that go-to person that came up with solutions. Like you were that person that you always found the solutions. And then it kind of followed you down the line. It followed you, and I remember I said it affects you in every area. So it's like if you're a strong friend, most likely, and when it comes to your career, when it comes to like talking to people, like it will just affect the way you make your decisions. Like it affects everything, right? And so were you the one that protected everyone, and then you naturally just gravitated and took that on, or maybe you're in survival mode. So I know for me, like my story was that I had to grow up really quick. So like maybe you grew up real quick, right? And then you have to figure out you have to be resourceful. You have to be like, okay, like how am I gonna get from A to B? Like how am I gonna pay this bill and that bill? especially if you didn't have it, or you're maybe working part-time and then circumstances change and then you need to go full-time. Like that was my situation. And I found that if you were in survival mode, it was a point there was a point where it's like you have to figure out how to be the strong person for yourself. And then you start being for everyone else because let's face it, like the more you go through these type of things, he's like you that means that you went through challenges, overcame this. So most likely you're gonna meet other people who went through that. But that's where you have to be careful, right? Because that's when you start attracting the people who need to lean on you. That's the danger zone, right? Because when you overcame very hard challenges, naturally it's like you become a hen, a mother hen. I like how a friend had told me that once, and he was like, one time he actually told me that, and he was like, "Oh, you're in that group where, um, when you're with a group of friends, like people will think you're the mother hen. You're like protective of all your other friends." And I remember I didn't like that so much. When he told me that, it made me very aware, and I was like, "No, I want to be like when I'm with my friends. I just want to be soft, like that soft life." Like, I don't wanna be worrying about other people because I feel like we're all adults. Like, yes, we'll protect each other, but I didn't wanna be the main person that's like the hen, the mother hen, where like the guy because what I noticed is like if a guy liked someone within the group, right? Automatically, it's like they would be buying me like I don't drink, but they'd be buying me some type of drink. And the girl that he liked, and I'll be like, why is he buying me a drink? And it was like he was trying to like impress me or whatever before like the friend that he liked. And it was just like a weird dynamic. But it's like you have to be careful because you will start to attract friend like you'll just attract and then everywhere you go, like people will know this. Like and then they'll treat you as such. Right? So it's like it spills out everywhere. And the next one was like the people pleasing. It's like who did you have to please when you're younger? And it could have been from your parents, um it could have been what do you call it? It could have been your parents, it could have been like when you're it could have start from like elementary school, when you're in kindergarten. Like I remember growing up and I just wanted to be the best. Like in the class, like in kindergarten when we were learning to read and we'll do those quizzes. And I remember I used to be racing a friend. And when I look back, I'm like, why am I racing to finish a task before her? Like it was just so silly when I thought back. And I'm like, we would literally look at each other and start racing with our writing and stuff like that. And it was because like I always wanted to be her and I always wanted to be the best because I think I grew up trying to like prove myself, especially to my mom, right? Because we didn't have the best relationship. And this kind of seeped over in business. Now, like, when I had to make my first decision of taking a risk, like, I had to take out all the ideas that people were s of all the people's opinions, like, everyone told me, like, when I was starting my business, right? People pleasing, I'm telling you. Was going to people, asking them about it, like, now I know, and I look back, I'm like, "Man, I shouldn't have asked anyone their opinion on, like, if I should take this next move." Because I was tired of my job, I was tired of working my job. And I remember they came to a point where I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna take a risk." And I'm like, "I'm gonna try something new." Cause like I didn't want to be doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results. And this is what I teach people is like, yes, you can consult people about ideas or what you should do next, but in the day you have to do things for you. And this is a lot of things I teach my people, especially if I'm doing a one-on-one call or something like that. Like I'm teaching you to make your own ideas and not live according to how people are living. No. And another one is hyper independence. Oh, this is a nice one. You know, sometimes we grow up being so independent, right? So it kind of ties in. It's like you learn to do everything yourself. You learn to find solutions yourself, and then you learn to stop asking help. So then that's how you appear to be the strong one because you stop asking for help. So then everyone then's like, oh, that person's a strong one. Like you become like the one that's noticed, and then everyone starts to go to you. Like they're like, oh, let me go to this person because she has something to say, or let me call her with her problems. Because you're hyper independent. Like you stop depending on other people. You probably don't tell any of your issues to people. And then they think, and then you become so independent to yourself that you never even go to people. You're never vulnerable with people. And vulnerability is one of the most important things to have in every area of your life. Like People, you know what? People always ask, like, "Oh, how do you get your first sale?" Like, that's usually the number one thing that people would usually ask. And I'm like, it's vulnerability. Do you know how hard it was for me in the beginning years ago to be vulnerable when I first made my first decision to start my business, which was on Amazon selling product. Okay. I remember the coach had told me, "Oh, Nikia, like share it on Facebook at the time." And I'm like, "Oh Lord." I was like, "I don't want to share this." And I remember I did it anyways. And I was like, "Hey guys, like I'm starting this, like, I'm gonna see how it goes." But you see, and what I learned from that when I shared it, everyone ended up celebrating me. And I was like, "Oh, this is different." But you know what I realized is what I discovered is that I was so worried about what people thought. Because I was trying something new, I was worried about, okay, what people are gonna think. Like, it's like this like girl that had no experience ever starting a business, coming from a job, starting to like a new idea. And there was a lot of reservation. It was like hearing what people thought. Like it was all that. It was like, oh, I've been independent, and then there was there was a sense of vulnerability, right? Of a sense of vulnerability of sharing that I'm trying something new and that I may fail in front of people. Like I don't want to even fail in front of people because I was so hyper independent, right? And that's something I teach is I teach a lot of like my people when I teach them, it's like, no, you have to be sharing your story and sharing those moments when you're most vulnerable, where things didn't look like it was going to work, or, like it could be with a friendship, right? Where, or a dream where you're like, okay, this is not, I don't know about this, but like sometimes sharing it with someone and making people celebrate with you could be such a breakthrough, such a breakthrough. Especially if you've been used to doing everything on your own and trying to figure it out, right? And so here's the next one. Okay. What it costs you. What does it cost you to be that strong friend? Okay. There's a sense of resentment that happens because there's a part of you is like, oh man, like I wish they acted like this to me, like the way I acted to them. And I remember I used to have that type of resentment where when it would be my birthday, you see the birthday, like it's sometimes so soft, right? And I mean, at the time, I don't think I had the type of friends that I was looking for, but they were okay friends, but they weren't like friends where I was like, I'm gonna have them for a lifetime. But I remember there was a point where I was like, it was a thought, and I was like, man, I wish I wish I had friends that were genuinely just excited to celebrate my birthday and like would like plan stuff, like that surprise birthday party or something. Um, but you don't realize it until you have those little thoughts and or you'll be like, "Oh, I wish I had a friend where they would actually call me and just call me out the blue." Like at the time I didn't have that. Right? Because I was always the one making that initiative or asking people like, "Oh, like do you want to meet up?" Like, you know how exhausting that is? And then there's a like resentment that forms where you don't realize it. And then you have to realize like sometimes like if you feel that once you feel that you're starting to get resentment, there's something that you need to reassess to start communicating with the person. Or and then that's when the boundaries come in where you're like, hey, like I notice this is not I'm doing this, but this is not happening on your end. But you have to say it in a nice way because people will get defensive, right? Like people get defensive. So you have to figure out how to say it in a way. And if it doesn't work and you're trying to share your heart and it doesn't go the way you want to, time to move on. The next thing it causes you is you're gonna feel alone, right? Because if everyone you're pouring to everyone and then you don't have anyone to pour your cup, that means that every time you're emptying your cup. And nothing lasts as long doing that. Eventually it will lead to burnout. It's another cost. It leads to burnout. Where eventually you're gonna be like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna give up on relationships because people just seem to want from me and they don't ever want to just give back, right? Um, they don't ever want to just have a conversation. It always has to be about that. It always has to be like what they're going through. So that's when loneliness creeps in. And that's why I'm a big believer, like you. So if at the time it's like you don't have that person where you're like, okay, I don't have anyone pouring into me. Like you're gonna have to try to rework your friends and try to find someone else. right? Because you don't want to get stuck in that cycle where you're feeling no one wants to feel lonely, right? And also, I think it's shifting your mindset as well. So what I mean by that, like shifting the way you're thinking about it, is you're now creating you're creating a life that you want. So maybe it's doing things that you enjoy that's not depending on them, on their actions, because we can't control their actions. Now, you do have the option to find friends, but that may take time. So it's like, what are you gonna do in the meantime? Is you're gonna have to find other things that fills your cup, so that way they're not emptying your cup, and then make a vow to yourself that you are not going to basically not fill your cup. Um, right, where they're draining you, emptying you out. Like, no, like that's not a good thing. Um, and then the next one, this was the last one, was the reset, right? So you want to reset it to basically a strong friend knows how to give. You know how to give, so we don't need to teach you that. But it's the receiving, is knowing how to receive. That's the important one. And then and embracing it. So if someone wants to give you something and bless you with something, you want to embrace it. Embrace it. I remember the other day I went to pick up a car part, and it's fairly, it's just brakes, nothing crazy. And then the guy behind the desk was like, "Oh, do you want to bring it to your car?" And there was a part of me at first I was gonna be like, "No, I'm good, thank you." And then somebody's like, "No, let him bring it." And that's what I did. I just let him lift it. Hey, banana milkshake, how are you? And basically, I let him bring it to the car. And I remember it was such a nice feeling. It was so small, but it was like, sometimes it's nice when the people just do things for you, especially if they want. It makes you feel valued. Like it makes you feel like, oh my god, like there's someone that like low key, like, they see you, right? They see you're there. They just want to help. They just want to be nice. Like, isn't that so nice? Because we live in a world sometimes where people are not that kind. And it's so like if you're in a place where you try, it's hard for you to receive help. If someone offers something, even if it's so small, to cut your grass, like say yes, even though you usually do it yourself. If someone helps you to clean your place and they're like, hey, like, I just want to help you, like, say yes. If it's your birthday and you don't usually accept gifts, because I know as we get older, we're not really that big on gifts. Say yes. Like, say yes. Say yes. Hey, like, sure, I'll welcome the gifts. Like, it's my birthday this week and it's coming up. And I didn't ask for anything. I was just like, hey, I just want to see your beautiful faces. And then my friends were like, "Well, what do you want for your birthday?" Like they're getting into it. And I remember thinking at first I was gonna be like, guys, you don't need any gifts. But I'm like, you know what? Since you guys are asking, I'll make a gift registry for my birthday. And it was a beautiful thing because they just wanted to give back. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you. It's actually June 8th, but I'm celebrating on June 6th. And they just wanted to give back, and I was like, this is so kind. Right? And it shows like it's like when you see that, like people just want to give to you, it shows that it means you're creating a healthy dynamic. It's a sign that you're creating healthy relationships. Because you see, like, if you can't receive in like something as simple as relationships, like it even gets harder when you're like going after your dreams or you have an idea, because when you do those things you're gonna have to learn to receive. Like people are gonna be praising you, people are gonna love you for what you do, people are gonna give you compliments, and then that's when you're gonna have to learn to be like, oh, thank you. Like I want to, I want, like, that's when you're gonna have to learn, okay, I need to receive this, because like there's something beautiful about you and unique about you that people's gonna love about you. They're gonna love what you're doing, right? And the next one is rest without guilt. And I think this is a strong point because sometimes we're always doing something. It's hard for us to just rest. Like We're always on. Like if you can get to a point where you're always that friend where you're always on. You're always trying to see like how other people what other people are doing. Like you're always trying to make sure everyone's okay. Like you're always trying to see like how can you help. Like maybe there's no boundaries, right? Because there's no boundaries. Like you're gonna be doing everything. And I think it's a reminder to just rest without guilt. Like sometimes just do nothing. Don't even pick up the phone. Like, don't even pick up the phone. Sometimes just like make a day where it's just you. Like I had a friend just yesterday where yesterday she was just telling me, "Oh, it's so nice to just like she's like, "Oh, I'm going to just to go to the restaurant by myself just because I haven't went to dinner by myself in a while cuz she usually like socializes. She's kind of like me." And we're thinking I'm like, "That is so cute that you're like putting yourself first and you're just chilling with yourself. Like something you just need to do that. I'm actually gonna be doing that today. Where I'm like, after this, I'm like, I'm just gonna do something by myself, like in solitude. And the more you be in solitude, the easier it gets to set those boundaries. And like not be that strong friend all the time. Because then you start to be more aware of the any red flag. You start to be more aware of the things that you're over giving in. You start to look inward. You start to notice some of your actions that you didn't notice before. That you're like, or you didn't notice that you didn't like, but you just started to do it because of the routine. Like it starts to break up that routine. It breaks it all up, guys. And another thing is you stop over explaining. So that's the next thing to stop doing is just stop over explaining. So like if you can't do something, like I know Robbie was talking about like how she was like feeling guilty saying no to her best friend. And sometimes no has to be a full answer. You don't need to explain anything to anyone, right? Like you don't have to tell someone like why you're making a decision if you don't want to. Like even I got to the point where I was like, okay, when I tell someone that I'm not giving you a ride, it's a full no. And don't say sorry like at the end because we love saying that. No, I can't sorry. Like I just can't. You don't have to say sorry. You don't have to apologize for setting boundaries or you don't have to apologize for doing something for you. And I know we've gotten used to using that vocabulary, but now it's time that we don't apologize for doing stuff that's for us. Because when you look at it, do people do if start paying attention? Do people actually apologize for you? Like when they choose for themselves and they're selfish and they're doing things for themselves, they don't apologize to you. They're like, no, I'm doing it. Or when they call you at night and they're affecting you with their mood, their low mood, and right and putting all their emotions on you. Listen, they're not feeling bad about it. They're not like, oh, sorry for doing that. No, they want to release their all their thoughts or whatever they're going through, right? And you have to think of it the same way, like when you're putting yourself first and you want to reset from being a strong friend. Exactly what you need to do. Is put yourself first and don't be apologetic about it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty about it. It's like, why do we feel guilty? Because they don't feel guilty when they're taking your time and they're asking you to get like take from your cup. They're not feeling guilty about it. So you don't do that, right? And last but not least, we've been talking about all throughout the life is set boundaries. You have to set boundaries. Like even if it's uncomfortable, sometimes it's gonna be uncomfortable because you've been doing it for a long while. So like like if you are if you've always been doing it for months or years, right? Like doing things that go against like your beliefs and your alignment of what you believe in, and you've been doing it for years. Like it's gonna take a little time to reverse like it's gonna take time to reverse. It's gonna take time for that feeling to match your morals and values. And that's okay. I think sometimes we have to give ourselves some grace. I think that's so important to give yourself grace. It's okay, right? To give yourself space when you're setting boundaries and set yourself up and realize that some people may not agree with it and you may lose some people, but it's okay. I've lost friends from setting boundaries. And yes, I felt really bad for it. But then once I walked myself through it and I was like, no, but this is what I didn't like. This is what I didn't want. and I have to stick by it because I feel better. Even though I don't feel bad I hurt the person feeling, so what? And this is usually one of the hardest things to teach people. Yes, you teach them, but it's like it's teaching people like, hey, you don't have to feel guilty about making a decision or choosing you or choosing the ideas you've been thinking about doing forever. No reason to feel guilty, right? And if you're listening to this, you're probably realizing you put yourself last. You know, you spent years just listening to everyone's opinion, basically living in a way you feel like other people think you should live, or like moving in a way that doesn't affect someone else. It's like you're walking on eggshells. Like you see this in relationships, but this could be in your friendships. This could be like around your ideas, right? Like where you're just overthinking it, and so it's kind of like you're tiptoeing around your idea that you know it's there, or you're tiptoeing around that dream that like it's been on your mind, or you're just overthinking every decision, because you're not wanting to be wrong, to be honest. Um, or you're realizing like, oh, I just want to feel ready. You'll quickly realize like when you're making uncomfortable decisions, or you're making transitions, or you're changing things around, like there's never a time where it's ready. And if anything, most of the time when you make those transitions, it's like it's usually messy. We think it's gonna be perfect. Like we think like, oh, when we make that change, or we decide to go back to school, or we want to work on that idea, like everything's gonna be perfect. Like in an ideal world, we would want to like, you know, in an ideal world, we would want like, oh, all the bills to stop, like all the drama to stop, any type of conflicts to stop, basically any doubts that we have to stop. But like, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It's usually very messy. Okay. And so that's why I created the, Build Where We Are clarity call, because it was for the women who like knows there's more. They know that they've been having ideas that have been sitting on their heart, and they're like, I want to get this going. Like they've been having this idea forever, and they just don't know how to move forward. It's for the woman that's been having a dream where they're like, "Oh, I've been wanting to do this." Right? Or it's for the woman who they've been trying to make choices, but it's like they're afraid to, you know, get it wrong. Like they're always working out probabilities. Like they're always like, "Oh my God, is this gonna work?" Like, or what decision should I make? And then it's like they end up just getting stuck, right? And you're in a place where you're like, I want to just move forward. So in these calls, like the Bill Where We Are calls, it's basically one call. You get as much calls as you want, and it's 1 hour. And in the call, we're gonna focus on what you want. We're gonna focus on what's keeping you stuck, and we're gonna create a simple plan to move forward. Okay? Because sometimes we think we need like multiple courses, or we need that magic answer, or we need like, God to just scream, hey, this is what you should do. But sometimes it doesn't work that way, right? But what we really need is sometimes a thinking partner, like someone who's like basically outside of your head and can see the bigger picture. They can see like where you're going. They can basically see the purpose that you have on your life and what's holding you back. Okay. If you're asking how I know this, because I had to make the same decision. It came to the point when I was laid off, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to stay in the same place and do the same thing I've always been used to doing, and go back and have the same results over and over that made me unhappy, made me go in circles over and over and over again? And I can tell you no. So I basically took a risk. I took a risk, and I was like, I'm gonna try something new. And that's when I started that like first business ever. Okay. I used all my savings at the time, and it was like in the four-figure range. And I remember I was so scared, but I was like, I'm gonna just do it. And I got my first sale the first 6 weeks, and then basically did it for 4 years and did like $1 million in sales, right? Selling product, right? And then went on to do the, marketing and all that stuff, and helping people and stuff like that. But none of that would have happened if I waited. Like if I waited for everything to be ready, guys, it wouldn't have been, I'm telling you from now, I wouldn't have been ready, because it was a mess then. I was laid off. Like, I had every reason to make an excuse and be like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I don't want to see any change. Like, I had every reason. It is what it is. And I chose, I'm like, you know what, I don't want to keep waiting. And so my goal isn't to tell you what to do in your life. My goal is to help you trust yourself to take the next step, right? Take the next step, and like basically going into that call, and then figuring what type of life you want, that you maybe built a life where you're like, I want something different. Like, and that's my goal. And so if you basically, you can always DM me, right? On Insta, on IG, or you can click the link in the descriptions in this video. You can click the link, and that's how you can access it. Or if you go Stan Store, basically stanstore.com/ Nikia Walker, it would all be there. And let me walk you through it. Like, give me a sec. Let me walk you through. I'm gonna get my laptop for you guys. So let me show you. So I can walk you through, and it's $87, like, for now. Eventually I'm gonna raise it up to 197, but that's where it is right now. And so let me like walk you through it quickly here. So even if you go on like my YouTube channel, if you go on my YouTube channel, so Showboat People, right? So this is it. And then you click the stand store. So you see the cursor, and you click the stand store on the YouTube channel profile. Basically, you'll see the call right here. So like build your clarity call. And then you basically scroll down, and then you could choose a time, and it's $87, and then you just click and pay pretty much. And it's pretty flexible, so I'm looking forward to it. And it's a way to like brainstorm your ideas, like, get clear, like catch any doubts, like help you make a decision, right? For your next like dream or idea or next move you want to be making. And I really enjoy this stuff, and like helping you develop your authentic story. I think you guys would really enjoy it. And yeah, and I wish I had that back then, because I had to make the decision by myself, right? When it came to that. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to see your guys' transformations, and feel free to DM me if you want the LINK. And I will definitely send it over if you have any questions. All right. Thank you. Bye.